That meeting that's been taking place with General Chiwenga as well as President Robert Mugabe. Coming back home, Francis, there have been some developments at the SABC.
Indeed, Peter, Communications Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi-Ngubane has expressed shock and concern over the resignation of SABC board member Rachel Kalidass. Kalidass has written a letter to President Jacob Zuma saying her resignation centres on the board's preferred candidates for the exec positions of CEO and COO, Chief Operations Officers. At the time of speaking, the minister said that she hadn't been formally informed about the resignation and that she had read it on social media. Well, a short while ago, the chair of the SABC board, Bongumusa Makhathini, addressed the media on the latest developments, and he joins us in studio now. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Makhathini. When did you hear of Rachel Kalidass's resignation?
I heard today in the media.
So you weren't informed by her at all?
Not at all.
What was the gist of what you were saying?
Basically, from the position of where the board is, we are involved in a process of looking for the CEO and the COO, and that process has not yet concluded. So Rachel Kalidass was part of the board team that was basically engaging with the candidates. So all 11 of us had a meeting where we were basically asking these candidates any concerns or any question that we may have about them. She was part of that session. And out of that session, of course, there were people who had certain concerns around some of these candidates. And as a result of that, we then said, let's go into a thorough research to understand the details so that as a board, we can be informed in terms of what are the concerns and how we're going to go about sort of like addressing those concerns if there are any. Subsequent to that, Rachel then rushed and diverged sensitive information from the board session without necessarily getting approval from the board. The problem with it is that we're not involved in some illegal or funny kind of issues that required her to escalate the issue. We're still in the process. And we cannot at this stage divulge the names of people that have expressed interest to join the SABC.
The name is out now. Her main concern seems to be around Alan McCaughey, formerly of the Land Bank. She says accused of fraud and corruption. There have been investigations done by the media. Is he a strong candidate for CEO?
At this stage, I'm not in a position to compromise any of the candidates that have applied. Remember, when somebody applied for a job, they are employed somewhere. You've got to respect them and the confidentiality that happens between that process of recruiting people. And until we're ready to confirm, and we'll come and inform the South Africans about the candidate that we've chosen. But at this stage, I cannot confirm any names because I'll be compromising those people.
I understand, but she's raised some serious claims that the board was so certain about Mr. McCaughey that you actually decided on a clean-up operation afterwards. People who had board media experience to go and make this palatable to the South African public. Were there any discussions like that?
That's untrue. Basically, what happened is because there was a section of the board members who had serious concerns around a particular candidate. Then we said, before we get into any point of making a decision, let us put a team of people that will go and investigate and add anything that may be out there about the candidate that we are reviewing. As I've said before, that we are involved in a rigorous process to scrutinize these people. You'll understand that for a position of a CEO, you've got to make sure that you do a thorough verification of everything that surrounds them, credentials, qualifications, and so forth. And we're not at a stage where we can confirm anybody at this stage.
That's why I asked, because given the stain on state-owned entities in South Africa right now, the names that have been tarnished, the severe mistrust from the public, I think people are immediately asking, why would the board ever consider someone that the public of South Africa wouldn't love, somebody without a clean slate?
When you put positions or opportunities for jobs, everybody applies. And in that process, you get a number of people that applies. You've got to basically scrutinize them and select, shortlist. After shortlisting, you interview. Until you're ready to make a position, these kind of things will come up. But as a board, we're not going to tarnish or ignore somebody based on the allegation. That's why we put together a committee to go investigate. It's not a cleanup committee. It's a committee to go find out everything that may be of concern about these candidates before we get to a decision point.
Okay, so right now you're just considering. She's jumped the gun.
She jumped the guns.
So she's categorically lying when she says that Alan Makoki was decided upon already.
She's basically lying. It's a lie. The board has not made any decision on the appointment. We are involved in the process, and when the process is done, we'll come back and inform South Africans.
She says she was verbally attacked for speaking to Parliament. Is that true?
Basically, after we had the meeting as the board, 11 of us, we started getting media queries inquiring about what transpired in our board meeting. And then some members of the board got calls from some members of Parliament, and they informed those people that they had it from Rachel. We then gave an opportunity to say, Rachel, what really happened here? Did you leak information? She said, yes, she did, and she apologized. And in her own words, she said this was poor judgment on her part. And for an auditor to basically contradict the code of conduct of the board, diverging sensitive information about board matters that have not been finalized is irresponsible.
Going to Parliament, so that's not just about being transparent, given the huge public interest in this. That's not leaking. I understand the claims about leaking to the media, but that's going to a public body that's already shown its oversight over the SABC.
Can you imagine how many people applied, okay, who are employed elsewhere? And then we go to Parliament in a public platform and list people's names who have job elsewhere. Their employers learn for the first time that they've applied for a job. What happened to those people? We've got to respect confidentiality. We have to respect those people until we're at the point where we're ready to make a decision about their appointment. But for now, it is not at the right stage for us to do that.
I understand what you're saying. We're running out of time. Can you allay the fears that these appointments will be political, that they won't be the very best candidates who are without stain in the interests of the SABC?
This board that I'm part of is committed to making sure that we run things in a credible manner. Integrity is core to what we're doing. And that's why we're not going to be bulldozed by anybody to do wrong things. We'll do thorough research, we'll do thorough scrutiny to make sure that we get people who are capable to take SABC forward.
All right, thank you for being with us. That was the SABC board chair, Bongumusa Makhathini.